It's the Odd Drunk Podcast, a very strange podcast, the drunkest show in the world. It's Jackson and Colton talking out of their ass. We don't care as long as drinks are poured. Sometimes we have our friends here. We will talk about anything. We don't care as long as we have beer. And if you let that whiskey ring. The Odd Drunk Podcast. Welcome back, everybody.
Hey.
Did you miss us?
I didn't.
You didn't miss us?
No.
Including yourself?
Specifically myself.
You lost yourself in the last week.
Yeah.
And drowning in papers. And I've been in the same boat.
I've just...
But yeah, we took a break for Thanksgiving. I went back home. That's all I'm going to say. Well, I do have some things to say about it, but we'll get to it. And yeah. I'm back. We're back. You want to tell that joke again?
Sure. Hey, what's the internal temperature of a tauntaun?
What is it?
It's lukewarm.
That's a joke for all the nerds out there.
Yeah.
And speaking of all the nerds out there, and then here, we are revisiting some comics again.
Yeah, mostly Jackson's revisiting some comics. I was so busy I did not get around to reading as much as... Honestly, this would have been a week that I would have... If we hadn't skipped last week, I would have suggested we skip this week because of how busy I've been. But
no, it's definitely one of those weeks, but the show must go on, Colton.
Yes, and
No.
So I attempted to read some comics.
We don't need sleep.
I read enough that I have some things to say.
We don't need sleep.
No sleep.
Sleep is for the week, right?
I've gotten probably about 6 hours of sleep a night for the last week.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll get some more sleep tonight. I don't know.
So yeah, we're doing another catching up on comics, and we read them at our own pace and what time allows us. I read a little bit over the break, but mostly I didn't. I was spending time with my family and on the move all the time. Even though I was on break, I was busy.
I told myself
I didn't have much time to just.
I told myself that over break I was not going to volunteer for extra shifts at work. And then I ended up working several extra shifts at work because people kept asking me to cover their shift, and I have a problem. I have a problem saying no to people sometimes. Well,
and you need the dough.
Yeah,
But we got some good stuff to talk about, and mostly, again, it's Marvel. But I do have a unique comic to look at, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. I only read a little bit this week, but if we wanted, I could talk about Fables or something like that.
If you have, whatever you have to talk about.
I've read Fables. I've read the first whole volume of Fables.
There you go. You can tell us about it.
I have the physical copy. It's on my bookshelf.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you ever played what's it called? The Wolf Among Us?
Yeah, Wolf Among Us.
Yeah, that's
based.
Yeah. Anyway.
But before we get into that, it's good to be back, even though we are,
exhausted
and exuding stress. I played a little too much Skyrim last night, and I regret it.
Nice.
But I did get a cool mod.
I stayed up until about 1 a.m. doing homework, and then got distracted by YouTube videos.
That happened.
Didn't go to sleep until about 3 a.m. So,
yeah, and I'm probably going to be up till 3 a.m. doing homework tonight. But anyways, you guys don't care about that. So what are we drinking? I have the Christmas ale because tis the season, which I can't believe it's already Christmas time at the podcast.
Got Christmas tree up in my living room.
Yeah, it's just going by so fast. It's crazy. But here's to another year of this.
So it's a Christmas ale from
Breckenridge Brewery.
Nice. I think I've had that one before. It's pretty good.
No, honestly.
Yeah.
It really is. It's just a good winter ale.
Yeah.
It doesn't it's funny because there's another beer that I actually think tastes like Christmas, but it's not Christmas themed.
What's that?
It's the New Belgium 1554.
Oh, that's a very good beer. Yeah.
it tastes exactly.
They have that on
I
tap
swear,
at
it's got
J-Bo's.
like pine or something.
Yeah.
Ooh, wonder if there is like a pine-based beer.
There probably is. I don't know. People make
That'd
weird.
probably be really bad.
People do weird flavors with beer. I'm drinking just plain old box wine. I think it's
what kind?
It's a Merlot.
Ooh, I've been really into Pinot Noir.
I like Pinot Noirs. I bought a bunch of box wine for Thanksgiving, because I made some mulled wine, which that's a holiday drink, mulled wine, with some oranges and some cloves and some cinnamon in there. Hot wine.
Oh,
it's very good.
Interesting.
It's not super popular in the United States, but it's popular in the rest of the world. And I bought way too much wine for that, so I ended up having a lot of extra, and that's what I'm drinking. Some just plain old Merlot box wine.
You can never have too much wine, Colton.
Oh, I drink way too much of it.
Until you wake up the next morning.
Yeah.
Because those are honestly the worst hangovers to experience.
There's all the tannins. Getting all scientific there. It's the tannins in the wine.
Tannins in the wine.
It's also why Applejack gives you really bad hangovers, because it's not distilled, so it's has a lot of tannins in it.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Applejack is made through instead of distilling it, they freeze it and they scoop out the frozen like non-alcoholic stuff, because the alcohol freezes at a lower temperature. So you can actually make something stronger in alcohol content by leaving it out to freeze, and then when the non-alcoholic part freezes, you scoop it out.
Oh, I see.
And that's the traditional way of making Applejack.
And then you have
a stronger drink.
I always heard chilling your liquor would make it weaker.
Well, no, it doesn't. Well, chilling it doesn't make it weaker; it just makes it the flavor weaker.
Yeah.
No, you can if you freeze.
Well, yeah, like when you chill like a bottle of rum, it will be really smooth.
Yeah, but if you take something that's
will be like flat.
Less alcoholic, like a cider or an apple wine,
and
then you let it freeze, the non-alcoholic,
you just get
the non-alcoholic parts will freeze.
Yeah,
and the alcohol won't.
Yeah.
So you can scoop out the ice once it's frozen, and then you have something. You can get it through that process up to like 40-50% ABV.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Well, that's a fun fact.
But because it's not distilled, there's still all the tannins in there, so it's some of the worst hangovers apparently.
Oh, I see. Because you're basically drinking.
You're drinking just really, really fucking strong apple cider, basically. That's what Applejack is. It's apple cider that is like at 40% ABV. That's
that sounds dangerous. That really does.
Yeah.
But, we both did something over the break, and yeah.
What was that?
Well, we weren't doing this. And real quick, we appreciate the downloads. It's looking good.
Yeah.
It's
I did notice we've gotten some good downloads over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, let's well, I don't like saying the numbers, but let's keep it going. Thank you.
Yeah.
And check out our Instagram, follow that. And all the comic books we're going to be talking about, that's going to be on our Instagram. So if you want to check out the panels that we're talking about.
Yeah, there's some cool stuff to check out.
And leave us a review if you are cool. Only if you're cool.
Only if you're cool, but
only cool people allowed.
I trust that everyone who listens to this show is pretty cool, though.
Totally cool.
Yeah.
And if you're not cool, stop listening. Get cool.
Yeah.
And then you can listen again.
Get cool.
But I bet you are cool, and you just don't even know it.
Probably.
Just believe in yourself.
Except for you, Steve.
Yeah.
You're not
cool.
What
the fuck are you doing?
But you can be cool, Steve.
And
You just have to go and give us a review on Apple Podcasts, and that'll be cool.
If your name is Steve and you're listening to this podcast, I better see a review or a DM or something.
Yeah.
Or even just send us a picture of your dog.
If you have a dog.
If you have a dog.
If you don't have a dog, you'll never be cool.
I don't know where we're going. We're both exhausted.
I'm exhausted. This is not my first drink of the night.
This is my first drink of the night, and it's well
mildly
deserved.
Buzzed since about 2:00.
But I can't. I'm already on my second beer. I better slow down. But anyways, because I got things to do after this, and it's really important. But enough talking about that. That's no fun. Over the break, we saw the new Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Yeah.
Separately, not together. But
I went on Thanksgiving to see that.
Yeah, it's a great Thanksgiving movie.
It was really good. I really liked it.
It's been out long enough. Spoiler alert if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, if you listen to the show, you know that we don't avoid spoiling stuff.
Well, it's kind of hard not to talk about.
Yeah,
without spoilers. I really love the tribute they do to Harold Ramis, and it's pretty much throughout the whole film.
The entire film feels like a tribute to him.
But what's funny is they're kind of dogging Egon's character the whole time.
Yeah,
like he was this loser that moved out to the middle of nowhere,
and it's only
in Oklahoma.
It's only
but it's not filmed in Oklahoma. It's obvious.
I was wondering.
Actually filmed in Calgary, Canada, for the most part.
It looked
in Alberta.
That looked. I was watching the film.
When I was watching, I was like, that's not Oklahoma.
I guess I didn't catch early in the film that they said it was Oklahoma. So like halfway through the film, I was like, I wonder where this is. It looks like North Dakota or something like that.
And then Paul Rudd's like, we're in Oklahoma. I'm Paul Rudd.
Yeah, and then I was like, oh, it's in Oklahoma.
I'm the sexiest man alive.
I
I'm Paul Rudd.
knew that was Paul Rudd.
I'm an awkward middle school teacher or elementary school,
summer school.
Oh yeah, it was summer school.
A summer school teacher.
That's even worse
because he's actually not a teacher. He's a seismologist who was just, I guess, needed a paycheck while he was investigating stuff.
And then he showed them Cujo in class.
I love when the main girl walks into the office and he's like, "What are you doing? You know, there's a movie about a killer dog out there. You could be watching."
Oh yeah.
that.
So speaking of which, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna bother to look it all up right now because it's just a quick little review from us. But I do enjoy the new cast.
Yeah,
the kids. I don't think they're gonna be continuing. Maybe a little bit.
Yeah.
Because the ending seems like it's going back to New York.
Yeah, a bit.
The Ghostbusters are coming back in a big way.
Yeah. I don't think I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing more of this cast, but I don't think it needs to continue them.
But I think
it's just good as it is.
But what I enjoy is that it brings fresh new quality to the franchise. Mm-hmm. It's not just a reboot. It's in a completely different setting in the country.
Yeah.
And which was risky, honestly, because a lot of Ghostbusters is, hey, I'm walking here, it's New York.
Yeah, but it worked, I thought.
No, it did work.
I know there was a lot of fan service in it, I thought, but it was tasteful.
Yeah, and some people complain that it was too much, but what I really enjoy, like all the effects, sound effects, visuals, they're the same, just updated, modernized.
They fit
but
properly.
It's still, like that looks like if they made the original Ghostbusters with today's technology.
Yeah.
But it still stays true to it.
Yeah.
And like what are they called? The dogs, the Gozer. No, that's not Gozer. Zool.
The Keymaster.
The Keymaster
and the Gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Whatever, something like that.
They look exactly how they did.
Oh, yeah.
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 It looks like there is practical effects there.
Yeah. It was really good.
Which is cool. And yeah, and I love how Paul Rudd and the mom, they take the place of
Sigourney Weaver and
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis, yeah, that's his.
Paul Rudd's funny, but he's still not
I think that
Rick
is
Moranis.
my one gripe with the movie is that they couldn't get Rick Moranis to make a cameo.
Yeah, but I know he doesn't
he
film much.
He doesn't do anything anymore.
Yeah.
When Ryan Reynolds got him for the Mint Mobile commercial, that was actually like a big deal.
Yeah,
because it was his first time on
but
screen
I love
in a long
Rick
time.
Moranis.
They got Sigourney Weaver for the after credit scene.
No, yeah, so
that was fun.
Well, since you mentioned it, so in the after credit scene, it's Bill Murray and Sigourney Weaver. You know, what's his name in the movie?
Oh, I don't remember.
It's Vinkman.
Vinkman, yeah.
Something Vinkman. But he, it's assumed they're a couple, which makes sense.
I thought they hinted. I thought they started that, or they
started that in the first Ghostbusters. Honestly,
they furthered it in the second one.
But anyways,
I think that's just this one just confirmed that they're still.
She's
together.
doing the shock therapy thing with him with the cards.
Yeah,
and he's getting them all right this time, but she's still shocking him because he like marked the card so he would know.
Yeah.
But she's only in it for the post-credit scene. But I'm glad they got her back.
It was a good scene.
But I don't see how they could have got her back without just it being an obvious shoehorn.
I'm glad that they only did it for a post-credit scene.
In fact, when they brought the original Ghostbusters back, while it made sense, it was a little abrupt. I wish they would have been in it a bit more.
Yeah.
Because they show up at the climactic battle.
They did it pretty well, I thought.
They bust off a couple jokes. Dan Aykroyd is just Dan Aykroyd,
by
the way.
Well, what I liked about it is,
Winston. I love Winston. Ernie Hudson.
Well, what I liked about it is, so they bring in the original guys at the end in the climax of the movie. And even though it does feel kind of abrupt, like suddenly the Ghostbusters are here, they still feel like the same characters.
Oh no, yeah, they're the same characters.
Like Bill Murray's talking to Gozer. He was like, you and me could have been such a great power couple, but you just had to go dominating and controlling and maiming people.
Yeah. Oh, and Gozer's great. It's the same.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's Olivia, or what's her name?
I don't remember.
She's pretty famous.
Well, she's great. A lot of references to the first one. My little sister, she's in
Olivia Wilde.
Oh,
I was gonna say Olivia Munn, but I'm like, that's not Olivia Munn. But yeah, she does great with the role. I mean, it's the same. It's just Gozer again, and they're like, "Hey, flat top." But throughout the whole movie, and this is a major spoiler. You knew the Ghostbusters were coming back.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But this is a major spoiler. So if you don't want to know and you haven't seen the movie, stop listening now. Throughout the whole so in the beginning of the movie, it shows Egon. Well, at first I wasn't sure if it was Egon, but then I quickly figured it out.
Yeah,
but it shows Egon in the beginning, and he's trying to trap these ghosts at his farm, and his farm is just a giant trap.
Yeah,
because he knows that there's this big like cataclysm that's going to happen. Well, he gets killed.
Yeah,
and then but you see the EKG meter or whatever it's called, the like
spectrometer or whatever it is.
It goes off after he dies.
Yeah.
And then
so he's like still kind of a character in the movie.
He's still a character because like when his family moves in, his daughter and his grandchildren, and Finn Wolfhard's in it, and he's good.
Yeah. My little sister is she saw the movie with all her friends.
Yeah.
She's in like middle school or maybe high school now. And she's in love with Finn Wolfhard. And
he looks like he looks like a Wish brand Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. So she saw it, and she saw it with all her friends, and all of her friends had never seen the original Ghostbusters.
And Timothy Chalamet just looks like skinny Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah. So with Finn Wolfhard just looks like off-brand skinny Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, exactly.
Connect the dots there. But my little sister, she was out with all her friends. They had never seen the original Ghostbusters, so apparently every time they would reference the original, my sister would be like looking over at her friends to see if they noticed it.
Oh yeah,
and just blank faces. Like they just were not getting any of it.
Well, what I like about it though, I mean, for fans of the original, it pays tribute and you like all the effects and monsters. It brings back the little Stay Puft Men. But the Keymaster and Gatekeeper, Gozer, bringing back all the old school stuff. All the effects look the same, just updated.
Mm-hmm.
Does a really good job.
Yeah.
But it also does a really good job, in my opinion, of introducing this new era, this new age of the franchise.
It's continuing in a meaningful way the plot of the original, but with new characters and a new generation.
And the one kid podcast,
I loved him.
He was funny.
Yeah.
I think Finn Wolfhard's love interest girlfriend, I think she was a little shoehorned into the group, but it worked.
But she also doesn't do a whole lot, so it doesn't distract you that much. I loved at the end that
and then the main character, Egon's granddaughter, I forget her name,
great.
Phoebe, I think.
Yeah,
she's great, and she a lot of her lines and mannerisms is like a young Egon. You definitely see that.
I thought she did a great job. That was a good.
Anyways, big spoiler alert: Egon, he's technically in the movie the whole time as a ghost.
You just don't see him, but you see him manipulating stuff and moving stuff around.
Yeah, he helps show them like clues and stuff about what they're looking for about the ghost. Helps them, fix the equipment and everything. Like he like ties a wire to the spark plug. For the Ecto 1.
Oh yeah, and
like helps start the car, like that kind of stuff. And it's Egon.
Yeah, but then there was still at the end,
and this was risky. It was risky.
Moment.
It was risky though,
but it worked.
It did work, and I'll tell you why. So at the end, they're fighting Gozer, and they do the cross streams thing again, but then Dan Aykroyd's like, oh, she's uncrossing the streams.
Yeah, but because it's only 3 of them this time.
Yeah, it's only 3 of them. But then Egon grabs, he manifests.
Well, what? No, it's so that, they get pushed back.
And, they get pushed back.
And then the granddaughter, she steps in with the proton pack and starts shooting at Gozer.
Yeah, and it's like a Dragon Ball Z,
or the Harry Potter spells going back, like the spells meet.
Yeah, like the clashing, the energy clash.
And then it has a pan where it pans over and it shows Egon's ghost holding it with her,
and it looks just like Harold Ramis.
And it was great. It was really good.
Yeah. It looks just like Harold Ramis. It's really done well, but he never speaks, which I think was a smart move. Because if he did, they would have had to get a voice actor.
It would have been and it would have been a little weird, I thought. I do like, though, so it shows him standing there, and then the other 3 Ghostbusters, they see what's happening, so they jump on it, and they grab their proton packs and join in.
Yeah.
And then it shows a shot where it's all 4 Ghostbusters standing there with Harold Ramis' ghost closest, and they're all looking at Gozer, and then the 3 ones who are still alive both kind of they all slowly, look over at Harold Ramis.
Oh, and and I love the bit where Gozer asks Ray, Dan Aykroyd, if they're gods again.
Yeah.
And they're like, Ray, you better not. Don't do what you did last time.
They're like, yes, we're all gods.
And he was like, yes, we are gods. That was great. And then there's 2 post-credit scenes. So there's one with Sigourney Weaver and Bill Murray, which is fun. But then Winston, so it's revealed that Winston, he buys the old firehouse that the Ghostbusters were stationed at, and he's starting the Ghostbusters again.
Nice. And I think it's cool that he's the one doing that.
And also it says for Harold before it gets into the credits.
Yeah.
Which I thought was cool.
It says that before even the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Just after the scene with him, it says that, which is cool.
Yeah. But it's in Winston, he's a big business mogul now. Like, he was really successful after the events of the Ghostbusters. And he's restarting Ghostbusters, and at the end it shows the red light flashing at the containment unit, hinting at a sequel.
Yeah.
Looks like the sequel's going to be in New York again. It's going to be more classic Ghostbusters action. What I would like them to do, I think the old cast, they should still come back in cameos, but they can't carry on the franchise because, well, they're old.
Yeah.
They're old men.
I think they've got some good new
But I think
casts.
they should still be in it. I want them to. I mean,
well, they
and also, speaking of like Harold Ramis, yeah, he passed away back in 2014. Rest in peace. He was on when I was a kid. I didn't really understand. I didn't even think Ghostbusters that funny when I was a kid. I just liked the ghosts and stuff.
Yeah.
But after watching it in the last few years, it's amazing.
Oh, I love
and Egon.
The original is probably
he's
one of my
always
favorite
been one of my
movies.
favorite characters because he's so serious about everything.
Well, I think that's also one of the things about the new movie. I think it's the biggest praise I have for it, which is also the biggest criticism I have of the last Ghostbusters movie, the 2016 or whatever it was. 2016, 2017.
Which it isn't a bad movie.
It's not the worst movie. I think people are a little harsh on it sometimes. Yeah. But that movie just tried to make it where every character...
Everyone was Bill Murray.
Yeah, everyone was Bill Murray. Everyone had a quip at every moment they could have a quip.
Yeah. And that's not
And this movie didn't do that.
No.
This movie, you had the podcast kid. He had quips. You had
Bill
Murray comes in. Does Bill Murray.
They all have their
Paul
own
Rudd.
personality, and that is what makes them funny. Not that they're doing quips all the time.
Exactly. The funny is
for example, what makes Egon so funny is that he's never trying to be funny. He's always serious,
and that's
why it's funny.
That's what makes it work with the granddaughter and the podcast kid. Is the podcast kid is making these quips, and she's super serious, and that dynamic is funny, and then. Finally, she does make a quip, and because she's been not doing that the whole movie, it makes it work.
Well, yeah, and it's rewarding.
And so I think that's my biggest praise of it is it wasn't trying to be just silly comedy the entire time. It actually tried to tell a story that was meaningful.
But yeah, just a quick overview. I wish we could have got a little bit more of the old Ghostbusters in it.
Yeah.
And it did feel a little bit slow at first. I really wanted to get into the Ghostbusters action. But for the same reasons, it did a good job of establishing the new characters, the new setting, and all that.
Yeah.
And I like Muncher, the ghost, but no Slimer.
There's no Slimer.
I guess they're saving him for the next one.
Yeah.
Because I guess he's New York based.
I get. Yeah. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to see Slimer there.
It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
But I was surprised there was no Slimer. But they brought back Stay Puft, the little
They had the scene of the shot of the
zombie
getting the coffee in the diner.
Oh, they brought him back. That was a taxi driver.
A reference to the original.
And I think it does a good job revitalizing the franchise, setting up, new characters, new plot lines.
Yeah.
And it does a good job paying tribute.
Just overall good movie. If you're a fan of Ghostbusters, I recommend it.
Yeah.
And if you're not a fan of Ghostbusters, I still recommend it. Don't know if you'll like it if you're not a fan of Ghostbusters, but I still recommend it.
Yeah. But I mean, the original's still my favorite. But I would say this is better than Ghostbusters 2.
I would agree.
Or at least around. I haven't seen Ghostbusters 2 in a while, but I just remember it being.
It's okay.
Just the lesser version of trying,
It's okay. It's pretty good, but it's not the best. Well, another thing, this newest movie, you don't really have to have seen Ghostbusters 2.
There's some Ghostbusters 2 references.
Not a lot of them, though.
No, not a lot.
There's only it's just references.
This really is all the Ghostbusters 2.
All the plot and character stuff that you need to have background and
that comes
knowledge
from
it comes from the first movie.
Yeah. And also, it's a completely different universe than the 2016 one. That one has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, although I didn't realize this, the 2016 one. So the entire Ghostbusters franchise, I guess when they made Ghostbusters 2, they signed like a contract, and it was like Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd have complete creative say in everything related to Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
So the Ghostbusters 2016 one, people shit on it a lot, but it was officially approved by Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah, it had to be.
They approved it.
I don't want to talk too much about that, and we got to get to our main topic, but I think the main problem with that Ghostbusters, whatever it's called,
it's just Ghostbusters, but then
now it has a subtitle. I think it's like Who You're Gonna Call, or like something like that.
Yeah, they had a subtitle in the original, like in the movie, but then it was just marketed as just
Ghostbusters 2016. Yeah. But it has nothing to do with the cast.
Yeah,
them being women, that's fine. Honestly, I think the best situation is when you have men and women. To be fair, but that has nothing to do with it. The problem was, it was obvious that it was way too much improv, that they tried to be so funny all the time. It lost its story. They didn't feel like real characters.
It just felt like
it felt like a big SNL skit.
Yeah,
with a high budget.
Yeah, it did. It felt like everyone in the movie was just doing
None
improv.
of the ghosts were really unique or fun or goofy.
It just felt like they were all doing improv, and every single actor's favorite character was Bill Murray.
Yeah.
And there's it doesn't balance the funny to the act.
My last thing I'll say just about Ghostbusters Afterlife. If you're a Ghostbusters fan, we definitely recommend it. If you're not a Ghostbusters fan, you should still check it out. But last thing I'll say about Ghostbusters, what makes it work is the team dynamic.
Yeah.
You have Dan Aykroyd, who's overly enthusiastic about everything.
Yeah.
In real life as well. And he's actually into this.
He's just Dan Aykroyd.
I mean, he's actually into paranormal stuff. And I do want to try his vodka at some point in this podcast. I heard it's way overpriced, but it's a cool bottle. So,
yeah,
you know,
the crystal skull.
The crystal head. Yeah. But, so yeah, you have Dan Aykroyd, who's like ADHD, over enthusiastic about everything. He loves it. Then you have Bill Murray, who's just like,
it's about $50 for a bottle.
Yeah.
We could get that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then you have Bill Murray.
Yeah.
He's just a lazy academic professor.
Yeah.
That just kind of breezes through life and is always making jokes and always trying to flirt with women, and just like doesn't care. Okay. And then you have Egon, who takes everything seriously, maybe too seriously, and you know he's really smart and he makes all their equipment. But that's what makes him funny, is because like you'll have a crazy or funny situation, and then he'll just say something along the lines of like, well, like one of his most famous quotes is like, "I've lost the capacity for rational thought."
Yeah.
And
then you have Winston, who's just the blue collar guy who was looking for a job.
He just needed a job.
And they were hiring.
And I love the scene where the secretary, I forget her name, but she came back in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
But in the original, where she's like, "Do you believe in UFOs, paranormal activity, EKG, telepathy, and like aliens, ghosts, and like all this stuff?" And he's like, "I'll believe whatever you want me to. I just need a paycheck."
Yeah. He's just looking for a job, which I respect.
And then Rick Moranis is just a sad.
I would have loved to see Rick Moranis again. He's great,
but yeah, but the new Ghostbusters 2016. I mean, they were all just trying to be Bill Murray, just always making quips, always improvise. Because Bill Murray improvised on most of that script because he showed up at the last second.
Well, it's like they still tried. They made some attempt to do the team thing. They had the smart one,
but the smart one,
the blue collar one, but the smart one still is making quips constantly.
Yeah,
and it's just like that's not. They're missing the point a little bit.
Yeah,
I do think people are a little harsh on that movie. I don't think it's that bad.
No, it's not bad, but I mean,
but
it
missed the mark.
I'm happy Ghostbusters Afterlife. I think we could get more movies.
Yeah,
and I think they could go any direction now. And what I would love to see is bring new cast, bring like a new Ghostbusters team of adults. Get Paul Rudd; he's already in it.
Yeah,
get his character, and wants to join the Ghostbusters
bring him back
after events. Bring him back. Maybe get like Chris Pratt or something.
Yeah,
maybe get Jack Black.
I think
that'd be great.
I think people are getting a little sick of Chris Pratt though.
Yeah, but you gotta admit, he would be fun.
I like Chris Pratt, but
he would be fun in a Ghostbusters movie.
And then maybe like a really serious actor.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Get like Daniel Day-Lewis.
But still keep the original actors, but they're just hiring new Ghostbusters and maybe have like multiple teams. I mean, there's so much you could do with it. But anyways, let's get to the comics.
Yeah, we read some comics. Jackson mostly read comics. I read a couple issues.
Yeah.
But I read some very relevant comics though, so.
You did. You did do that. Didn't you?
Yes, I read I started reading the Hawkeye series by Matt Fraction, in preparation for the show that just came out, which I haven't started watching yet.
I have started watching it. I definitely recommend it. Yeah, it's good.
I've been honestly too busy to watch it. I haven't watched TV in about a week.
Damn.
But yeah, and you what did you read?
I read Silver Surfer Black, written by Donny Cates, who also wrote the Thor run I read. He wrote Absolute Carnage. I'm pretty sure he created Null.
Oh.
The god of the symbiotes, the god of black. And we'll get to him. And but the art is done by well, let me get my information. I want to make sure I credit the artist. But it's a great I love it. It's a great comic. I can start talking about it if you want me to.
You should start talking about that. So what's the point of this? So it's about I assume it's about Silver Surfer to some extent.
You wouldn't be wrong. It's a lot about Silver Surfer.
So it's not actually an X-Men comic. Is what you're telling me.
Well, it does. Well, it's not an X-Men comic, but it does spin off from Donny Cates' 2019 Guardians of the Galaxy run.
Oh.
Featuring Beta Ray Bill, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Silver Surfer, other mates.
Yeah.
It's like the kind of OP Guardians of the Galaxy. Really powerful.
The Guardians of the Galaxy that would wipe the floor with the MCU Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. But so basically what happens, I just want to credit the artist real quick because the art is honestly my favorite part about this. I mean, the writing's good, but so it's Trad Moore, he was penciler and inker. And then Dave Stewart, I would also like to give credit to him. He was the colorist because the colors really pop in this.
Yeah, colorist makes a big difference.
But anyway, so the plot of this, so during an adventure...
Hold on. Okay, sorry about that. I went to go refill my glass.
It's important. Yes. But anyway, so Silver Surfer Black. So yeah, written by Donny Cates, art by Trad Moore. And the art, I'll get to that. But so basically the Guardians are on one of their crazy adventures as usual, and they're fighting the Black Order. Thanos' Black Order, Cull Obsidian, Proxima Midnight.
Good villains. I think they're pretty good villains.
Well, yeah, they're like their go-to like lower tier but powerful space villains. I like Ebony Maw.
He's a little bit more interesting than the other ones, I think. But
anyways, they run into a black hole. I'm not going to go into all details, but they run into a black hole, and as you do, and Silver Surfer, he saves the rest of the team. He gets them out of the black hole, but when he does that, he has to sacrifice himself. And he goes into the black hole.
Mm-hmm.
And then he awakens, and he's just in this black void. And at first he thinks he's just on the other side of the universe or something like that. Or in a different universe.
Yeah.
And he just kind of wonders and contemplates existence as he does. But then he soon realizes that he actually went back all the way to the dawn of time.
Oh, shit.
Before there was a universe.
That'd be embarrassing.
And
actually, would it be embarrassing? Because there would be no one there to witness.
And like
you.
here's like when he goes into the black hole, like going to different planes of existence. Oh, it's really cool art.
That's
and speaking
really
of the
cool.
art,
we'll have to post some of that in
throughout the whole run. Oh, we will. I've already got him. But throughout the whole run, the art, everything is so fluid and weird and alien looking and psychedelic and surreal. Like it looks like a Salvador, Dali painting.
Nice.
The whole thing, like everything's melting into each other. Silver Surfer's like weird and warpy, and everything has curves. Everything looks like it's like marbled plastic, which took me a little bit of time to get used to.
Yeah,
especially if the depiction of Galactus in the beginning. I would show you if. Wait, I can show you. But the art is amazing, honestly. Like it's bright, it's colorful, it's surreal, it's psychedelic. It's the right amount of weird for Silver Surfer, for cosmic, adventures. But like here's the first image of Galactus. And at first I was like, that's a little weird. He's all round, weird.
It's kind of trippy looking.
No, it's very trippy. But anyways, he goes back to the dawn of time. He's like, oh, well, damn. Basically. I'm the Silver Surfer. It's fine.
He's like, I can just wait.
But one of his, he discovered, he's in the void, and it takes him a while to get his cosmic awareness back.
Yeah.
And basically what that means is he just knows where everything is and what everything is. Basically.
Yeah.
Not quite omnipotence, but like he knows that where planets are, where nearby stars are, where
in the same way
what kind of radiation
Heimdall can see across the universe type of thing.
Well, it's like when we talked about why Silver Surfer could beat Superman. Ooh. It's because he would know Superman's weakness
just by looking at him. Yeah, he would look at him and be like,
and then he could just shoot him with kryptonite lasers.
Yeah.
Silver Surfer's really OP, but I love his. Honestly, he's one of my favorite comics to read in general. I remember I started with the original 1968 run of Silver Surfer, his debut as his own solo run. Because he was in the Coming of Galactus and Fantastic Four before that.
Yeah.
But in that run, it's just him exploring the cosmos and contemplating existence.
When they started exploring him by himself as a character.
But then Galactus strips his power, and then he's banished on Earth.
Yeah.
And Silver Surfer being confined to just Earth, that's like being locked in your bathroom. That's all you have.
It's like being locked in your toilet, actually.
Just sitting on your toilet.
Yeah. You're locked in your bathroom, and someone super glued you to the toilet seat.
Well, because I remember we looked it up, and this comic doesn't like explicitly state it, but it's pretty obvious. But we looked up Silver Surfer's traveling speed.
Oh, yeah.
He can go 500,000 light years a second.
That's insane. Yeah.
So, I mean, confining him to Earth, that's nothing. When he can travel across galaxies, confining him to Earth,
it's like if you lived in a mansion and you got super glued to the toilet seat, and you also accidentally had some splashback on the toilet. Yeah. That's what it's like.
But he, in the original run, when he's exploring Earth and sad because he can't explore the galaxy in the universe, he does see the injustice and stuff done. Yeah. And he falls in love with, I forget her name, this blind lady.
I would love to see Silver Surfer in the MCU, and I am in the camp.
Oh, he's coming.
I am absolutely behind the idea of having Keanu Reeves play him.
Oh, that'd be great. Honestly,
it'd be amazing.
A Silver Surfer movie, they should just make it like a weird psychedelic exploration of the human psyche. Like,
but also Point Break.
And also Point Break, and also
because he's a surfer,
and he's also got to fight a big guy.
I like the idea of the Silver Surfer being a surfer.
Yeah, but he's a really sad surfer a lot of the time. But
he's a surfer going through. He's a surfer who just read The Stranger or something like that.
But what's really like throughout the comic, you see him morphing in and out of his board and all that kind of stuff. And you do find out that he can actually morph his board into weapons.
Ooh, that's cool.
Like he turns his surfboard into a big halberd to fight these guys. So he ends up in this void, and it takes time for him to get his cosmic awareness, but then he detects a star, which he says is eons away. But he gets there in about 2 seconds in the next panel. And he crashes on this planet. But he realized it wasn't a star, that he just detected a planet. There's no star. There's no light in the universe yet. The only light is him, the Silver Surfer.
Oh, yeah.
And he fights these weird alien god guys. And then during the fight, he... And it's very Yellow Submarine. They have like big legs and like they're all like weird and curvy.
So what you're saying that if they were to adapt this comic series into a show or movie, that Ringo Starr should probably do.
He
the
should
music
be
for
Silver
it?
Surfer.
No, I was saying he should do the
voice of.
I was saying he should do the music for it.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Or yeah, I mean, also maybe Ringo Starr should play Silver Surfer.
I'm the Silver Surfer. Peace, love.
And they get
you got to check out.
And then get Paul McCartney to be the villain.
Get him to be Noel.
So a Silver Surfer movie where Ringo Starr plays Silver Surfer.
Noel, God of the Symbiotes.
And Paul McCartney plays Noel.
Why don't you let it be? No, but you got to.
And then just paint Ringo Starr silver.
Since you mentioned the Beatles, you got to check out the Get Back documentary.
I've heard it's good.
Peter Jackson got all the unreleased footage, approval from Paul and Ringo, and remastered it and everything. It's really cool. I haven't seen part 3 yet, where they play at the rooftop, but it's really cool seeing their process and everything, and just them interact, and it's cool. But anyways, back to Silver Surfer. Yeah. So yeah, he fights these weird guys, but then he's like, you know what? I don't have to keep fighting you because I could decimate you if I wanted to. But he's trying to be peaceful. Well, because Silver Surfer, he's depressed because he's like, I was literally the embodiment of death to all these civilizations the whole time I was the Herald of Galactus.
Yeah.
He and early in the comic, he talks about...
But he's not an evil character.
No, but he would show up to these planets and people would beg for him to help or praise him as a god. And he said he would just stare and then wait for Galactus to show up. And then,
yeah, because he was kind of being forced to.
But then he finally stopped, when Galactus was going to destroy the Earth. Because he falls in, I forget her name, but he falls in love with this blind lady and meets a Fantastic Four. He thinks Reed Richards is kind of a dick, but everyone does.
It's because he is.
But he's like, well, I should still save him.
he's like saving Reed Richards is the price to pay for saving the Earth.
Yeah. But he also has the ultimate nullifier, so he's like, oh, I better stay away from him.
Yeah.
I can't believe the Watcher would give Reed Richards that weapon, though. It can literally destroy the whole universe.
I can't believe anyone trusts Reed Richards with anything literally ever. Yeah. Because I would never trust him with anything.
Yeah.
Like, I know he's a good guy, but he's also a psychopath.
But there's also the council of Reed Richards,
yeah.
And most of them suck.
It's like Reed Richards typically is on the side of good, but he's still a psychopath.
Well, and...
that you should not count on.
He'll pursue science over emotion and over
he's the
empathy.
He is the stereotype of the mad scientist.
Yeah, exactly. But anyways, so Silver Surfer, he fights these weird alien guys, and
he doesn't deserve the thing.
He sacrifices a part of his cosmic power to create. He literally creates a star.
Oh wow!
For the planet.
Oh shit!
And then they stop fighting him because they're kind of freaked out by that.
No wonder.
But then This is, and I don't know if this is his first appearance in the comics. I think he's been mentioned before. Probably like in a Venom comic or maybe possibly a Thor comic. I can't remember. But he meets Null on this planet. And
because Null's whole thing was Null was around before there was light in the universe.
And sorry.
Whoa, that's cool as hell. But yeah, Null's whole thing was he was around before light was around the universe.
He was around.
And he wanted to go back to the way it was before.
And it's revealed that Null was around before Galactus. He was around before Ego, the living planet. Yeah. He was around before Odin, before everybody, basically.
Yeah, when it was
just darkness.
Well, yeah.
And he's the god of darkness. He's the god of the symbiotes. He created them. So Venom, Carnage, all of them come from him. Eventually,
yeah,
and it's revealed. And Silver Surfer, he visits the planet Clintar, which is the symbiote planet.
Yeah,
and he finds out that it isn't a planet; it's a cage.
Oh yeah,
the symbiotes, as evil as they are, because Null made them that way, and also he created the black.
They still imprisoned.
He
Null.
created all Black Necro Sword and all that.
Yeah,
and he's the one that decapitated the Celestial. That is now nowhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Isn't Christian Bale gonna play?
He's gonna be Gore the God Butcher,
yeah,
which uses the Necro Sword.
Yeah, yeah.
But which will be cool.
Christian Bale.
Yeah,
I hope he does the Batman voice.
He has to. But he has a tussle of Null, but he runs away, and Silver Surfer, his hand's black, and he realizes like his cosmic power is waning because he went back in time before Galactus gave him that power, so that's already draining him because it's
your typical Marty
paradox.
McFly stuff where he's starting to fade,
and then he gives up more of his power to create the star. Then he fights Null for a bit, but then he runs off, and then Ego actually talks to him. And it's conscious. Ego, the living planet. And no, it's not Kurt Russell.
I actually like Ego. In the comics, he's not
a Celestial.
And he's also not quite as evil all the time as the movies might make
He's just a weird living planet.
He can be a bad guy, but he's not like evil.
No.
He's just self-serving.
Yeah, exactly. But they have a big battle for a bit.
Oh, sick.
And
that's super cool art, man.
No, it's really cool. That's what really... And it's not a lot of reading in this comic. It's just a lot of good visuals. But, so Ego calls on him, and then he's like, yeah, we got to get rid of this Null guy or do something about him because he's going to destroy everything. And this, by the way, this is at the dawn of time still. 13 billion years ago, at least. Billions of years ago. It's crazy stuff. But, so they're like, well, Null needs to get fucked, but we can't. He's too powerful. But then Silver Surfer finds that Galactus, his seed, is on Ego.
Oh.
And this is before Galactus even spawned as Galactus. Because Galactus' story is, and it's revealed, and we talked about it in the last comics episode, that the Black Winter destroyed his universe.
Yeah,
the Black Winter's not Null. It's separate. It's a separate entity.
Yeah, it's the Black Winter.
Yeah. But the Black Winter destroyed his universe, but then he was saved in this weird egg, and he was birthed at the Big Bang.
And that's why Galactus is in our universe.
Yeah, and he's an essential part of the universe.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that. But finds out Galactus seed is in Ego for some reason. He crash landed on Ego. Ego's freaking out. And Silver Surfer goes in, and basically Ego's antibodies, he has to fight Ego's antibodies to get to Galactus' seed. He's like, I can't kill too many of them because it could kill Ego, but they're not letting me get to his core because he's a planet, but also a living being at the same time.
Yeah, so he still has antibodies and stuff. Ain't gonna die.
Yeah. And then
Ego's weird.
Then Silver Surfer's like,
disagree on that.
You know what? I'm gonna kill Galactus before he can do anything.
Yeah.
But then the Watcher steps in and he's like, fuck you are. And Silver Surfer's like, Watu, why are you here? You're not supposed to interfere. You don't interfere. That's your thing. But he does interfere a lot. But Watcher's like, if you kill Galactus, you won't exist. And if you don't exist, then
is like Time Lords in Doctor Who. Time Lords are not supposed to interfere. They always do. Well, the Doctor interferes. So there's a part in one of the really old Doctor Who episodes where they're talking about the Doctor, and they're like, Time Lords do not interfere. And they're like, but this Doctor, he does.
Yeah. But the Watcher tells Silver Surfer and Norn Rad, that's his real name, but he tells him that you can't kill Galactus because Galactus balances the universe and all this stuff, and you wouldn't exist without Galactus. So it would create a paradox. But Silver Surfer's basically like, get fucked. I'm going to go kill him. But then he meets Galactus. This is the first time Galactus meets Silver Surfer. Kind of.
Yeah.
Even though he gave him the power and Silver Surfer became Herald of Galactus in the future after this. They meet and Galactus is like, he basically tells them that like he has to feed on the planets because it balances the universe, and like if you killed me, it would just kill more light, like all this big stuff. And Silver Surfer realizes, okay, I won't kill Galactus, and
I'll let Thor do that in the distant future.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's what happens, right?
Yeah, but Galactus always comes back somehow.
Yeah,
but and that did happen. But he basically tells him to go fuck up Null, but he's like, I can't destroy Null. It's impossible. But Silver Surfer, he drains more of his energy is draining. He's turning like this black, like cosmic, like you can see like the void in his body. Like like you can see the cosmos in him. And but essentially he prepares him and Ego draw Null to Ego. Ego agrees to aid him. Okay. And Null has a big ass symbiote dragon, like Black Knight armor, a big
sick
javelin. I mean, not a javelin, joust.
Probably had some cool metal.
It's very metal. Yeah.
Probably Steppenwolf playing in the background.
And then, I'll post all this, but Silver Surfer and Null, first they're shooting lasers at each other and shit, but then it gets hand to hand, and Silver Surfer's like, oh, you want to fight? You want to draw swords? Silver Surfer turns his surfboard into a sword.
Oh, sick.
And they have a big fight on the dragon, on Ego.
That's rad. That is,
and the art's amazing, and it's really rad.
Yeah.
Oh, but before that, Null tries to make Silver Surfer his agent. His knight.
And Silver Surfer's like, I ain't falling for that again.
Well, what happens, Null gives him a symbiote, and he turns into like a Venom Silver Surfer. But then Silver Surfer resists it, and he just burns it all off with his cosmic energy.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And but yeah, they have a big fight, but Silver Surfer realizes that he could subdue Null, but he can never defeat him.
Yeah.
And it's revealed that Silver Surfer sacrifices basically his entire being to basically put Null back into his slumber, put him back in his cage for as long as possible. Yeah. And then at the time being, he dreams about being back on Zinlaw, his home planet, and his wife, and it gets a little sad, and he remembers all that, but he uses the rest of his residual like cosmic energy to recreate all these planets that were destroyed by Galactus in the future.
Wow.
And what this run implies
Silver Surfer
is
can
that
do anything?
Silver Surfer going back to the dawn of time always happened.
Yeah.
He is the reason Null didn't show up sooner. And that always happened.
Yeah. But it's not pulling weird time travel shit like Avengers do with alternate timelines. He was with a black hole.
It's in the timeline
and ended up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's this weird paradox that Silver Surfer's been around since the dawn of time, but he didn't get his powers until Galactus gave them to him, and then he was sent back down. But it's like a weird cycle that always has happened. But after eons, basically we're back to the present day now. Billions of years later, Silver Surfer's reformed. He regains his consciousness throughout the vastness of the universe. Like, he talks about how all his atoms are scattered across the universe. Huh. And then he kind of just rebuilds himself over time.
That's crazy.
And now he's Silver Surfer Black. Which it's basically, he's still got like residual power cosmic from the universe.
Yeah.
But he's like anti-power cosmic now, like dark matter Silver Surfer.
Huh.
So he's like edgy. But he's powerful enough now to fight Null and everything. And that's how he appears when he shows up in the Thor run that I talked about last time.
Yeah.
And but no, the whole comic is just eye candy. It's really fun to read.
Nice.
It's big in scale, and this is my first time reading anything with Null in it. I've known about him. And some people complain that Donny Cates is really pushing Null to be like the new big villain, and that, you know, making him powerful just for the sake of being powerful and all this stuff. But it's fun. I mean, I really want to read Absolute Carnage, because that run leads up to, I forget what it's called, but like when Venom faces off with Null and Venom gets like the power cosmic and all this shit.
Oh yeah.
But the thing that people are annoyed by Null is like, he beats Cosmic King Thor, even though everything shown previously shows that they should be on equal footing.
Yeah, Cosmic King Thor is.
But here's the thing with comics.
Pretty ridiculous in his power.
Here's the thing with comics, though. It's up to the writer who's going to be more powerful at any moment.
Well, that's why.
So, like, whenever you have debates.
Yeah, that's why it's one of those things where when I do read comics, I tend to try to read stuff that's either one-offs or isn't super important to the rest of that universe that it takes place in. Because, I mean, take for example DC Comics, The Flash. The Flash is theoretically one of the most powerful DC characters, but it also depends on just who's writing it, because in some versions of The Flash, he's so fast that he can vibrate and let bullets just travel right through him.
Yeah.
But some versions he can get shot.
That's Silver Surfer when he was a symbiote.
Oh, that's sick. Wow.
But it's sick in the comic. He turns his surfboard into a big ass great sword, and they have a big sword fight like in outer space. It's sick. And what's great about this whole run, it's only 6 issues. So if you're and you don't need to know everything there is to know about Silver Surfer, because this kind of retells his origins while introducing new things.
You just need a vague idea of him.
You need a vague idea of him. And it introduces Null, but it's just a fun read. I mean, really, you want to take more time to actually look at the panels, look at the art, because it's really beautiful. I mean, it's unique comic art. Like, but yeah, I mean, 6 issues. It introduces why he's Silver Surfer Black now. It introduces Null to the reader. It's just a fun, wild, wacky ride. It's got big events, big fights. Right. Like, here's Null's dragon, by the way.
Oh, that's fucking sick.
Yeah. He has a... and here's Ego. Oh, I really love that. I would love a blacklight poster of him.
Yeah, that's super cool.
But yeah, it's just a fun, quick cosmic adventure. Big scale, but it doesn't feel like a big event. Like, you can read it and enjoy it without knowing everything about the comics.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the main
awesome.
run I read.
I think I'll have to read that. I mentioned before we were recording that I didn't use Marvel Unlimited for this episode. I just found copies of the comics.
I think it's
online.
about the same about Marvel Unlimited. The app is good. I love the
there are cool things about it.
I like the smart panel thing where I like using that because it makes me take more time with it.
Yeah,
and it zooms in on each panel.
You can really just fly through comics.
Like to get
this
comic. Like I'm technically on Marvel Unlimited on my laptop, but it doesn't save any of my downloaded comics or my library.
I've had issues with the subscription service before with Marvel Unlimited, but
it's still cool. But I can access my comics.
Cool stuff about it.
I can access my comics on my my PC, but I can't access my actual library, so I have to manually type everything in.
Yeah, see, last time I did it, I couldn't even access stuff on my PC. When I tried to log in, it just kept saying that you have a subscription,
really,
but then I tried to open up a comment. It was like, you need to subscribe.
It's a bug that's been going on for a while that they just haven't bothered to fix.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where if you subscribe to Marvel Unlimited, you gotta, pretty much the lesson is you gotta stick to one platform. Subscribe on your phone and then read it on your phone.
Yeah.
Basically. Or subscribe on your laptop and read it on your laptop because there's issues with that.
Yeah, it doesn't cross over well. You can still access everything on your laptop, but
I couldn't.
I could. I had to
I would log in and it would say on my account info you have a subscription, and then I would go to open a comic and it would say you need a subscription to read this.
Oh yeah,
it wouldn't open.
It didn't do that to me, but what it did do, it did say I had a subscription, and that I needed to. It was like you have a subscription, but you're logged in on another device.
Oh yeah, but it's fucking weird.
I finally got it to work. Yeah. But I mean, it is still. I do want more hard copies of comics.
I like hard copies,
but it's not is practical.
I enjoy hard copies. Back in the day, I did actually used to go to a comic store and buy hard copies.
We just don't have one.
Although I was never someone who would go, every month to buy the new issue. I would wait till it came out in a volume.
Yeah, exactly.
The only comic I ever did that with was the Han Solo series from 2015.
I did read a Marvel Star Wars series, but let's get to yours.
Yeah, I started reading. I got through the first 2 issues because I've been busy.
Well, that's a lot longer read too.
Yeah, it's not too bad though. It's only like 22 issues. The Hawkeye Matt Fraction run, which is the new TV series, is based on.
Yeah. And I've been enjoying the series.
I haven't started watching it, but
it's all Christmassy and everything.
Yeah. So I mean, I can't say too much because I'm only 2 issues in, but there's a few things like I really like about it so far. The main thing is that Hawkeye is a character that often is included in like the Avengers and stuff like that, but this series treats him like a street level character.
I just want to show you. I really enjoyed this panel as well.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
That is rad. That's a poster there, man.
I know.
Or a desktop background or something.
Honestly, that's a good idea.
Yeah, but no, this the Matt Fraction run about Hawkeye, it treats him like a street level character. Because the general gist of at least the first part of the series is that Hawkeye, he's kind of down because the first panel starts with him falling out of a building and breaking like every bone in his body. And he ends up in the hospital. Like broken pelvis, broken legs,
because he's just a man.
He's in the hospital for like 6 weeks.
This is one of the reasons I love Marvel is that you have Silver Surfer who literally created planets and stars and fought gods and all this shit. And then you have the other side, the gritty street level heroes, Hawkeye, who's just a man that broke his hip.
Yeah. So this is like, he busts out this window and he's like, so this is from the comic here. He goes, you cowboy around with the Avengers. Guys got what? Armor, magic, superpower, super strength. I'm an orphan raised by carnies fighting with a stick and string from the Paleolithic era. And he lands on a car and ends up in the hospital. Yeah. He has
he mentions that.
Says shattered pelvis, 3 broken ribs, strained neck, cracked your fibia, left clavicle, etc. Just the doctor keeps going on.
Yeah.
But so he gets out of the hospital, finds that he's living in this beat down apartment building in New York City.
Doesn't he own it? Well, in this run,
he buys it.
Oh yeah, he buys it.
Okay. So he goes and he finds out that this Russian guy who is owned the building decided to raise the rent by like 3 times on all the tenants.
Is he in the tracksuit mafia?
Yeah, the tracksuit.
Okay. Yeah, they're featured in the show.
Yeah, that. So this guy, and also a lot of the dialogue. So not just comics have the thought bubbles, which are like just what the character is thinking, but they also Matt Fraction throws it into the speech bubbles of other characters. So when a character is talking, it'll have parentheses of what Hawkeye thinks about it. So to simplify it a little bit. He walks and the Russian guy's yelling at this family, and the Russian guy's back off, and then in parentheses, Russian maybe ? So that's Hawkeye saying this guy, he thinks this guy sounds Russian, maybe.
That's great.
So Hawkeye basically he's pissed about this, and he goes in. And it cuts around a little bit in this first issue chronologically. It cuts between what's happening and then later on when he's in a veterinary office with a dog.
Oh, is that Lucky?
Yeah, Lucky, or Pizza Dog as people like.
Pizza, yeah, that in the show, yeah.
Yeah. So the dog. What happens is the dog saves him. So he gets shot, and he's kind of braces for the next bullet, but then the dog jumps in and grabs the guy's arm before he fires again.
Oh, nice.
Because he gave the dog pizza earlier. So he basically goes to the Russian guys and with a shit ton of money, because he's an Avenger, he can get money. He's not poor. He's living in this building because nobody.
Who pays him? Is it Stark?
It doesn't. I don't recall. Maybe it says it later, further than where I am in the comics. But he's living in this building, this rundown building, but it seems that he's living there mainly because nobody else who's living there, they either don't recognize him as Hawkeye or they're too busy to even care. So he can live there kind of in peace without people bothering him about being Hawkeye.
Okay.
So he goes in and offers to pay everyone's rent to the Russian guy.
Oh, wow.
And the Russian guy's not having it. And the Russian guy's like, well, I'm legally, I know you're an Avenger, Hawkeye. I've done nothing illegal. It says in the lease I can raise the rent. And I have someone who's willing to buy, who I'm selling the building to.
Unfortunately, that's such a real problem.
Yeah. Landlords.
Well,
it's a housing crisis right now, and the rent crisis.
Yeah.
But so the landlord's like, I can do this, and you're an Avenger. I haven't broken the law. I've not done anything wrong. And Hawkeye's then beats him up, and is basically like, here, I'm paying everyone's rent, and I'm paying you for the building.
So he buys it.
And the landlord's like, again, I haven't done anything wrong. I had another buyer. And Hawkeye has a couple panels where he goes, the cool thing about being with the Avengers is that you have Captain America with you all around. And Captain America just makes you want to be a really good person all the time. But you know what? Captain America isn't fucking here right now. So he buys the building, and much of the comic run follows him kind of protecting the people in this building. And Kate Bishop is a big part of it.
Oh yeah.
They just show in the comics, they just say, oh, by the way, this is Kate Bishop, because this takes place after he was Ronin for a while.
Yeah.
So they just have a quick panel where it says, this is Kate Bishop. She was Hawkeye while I was doing ninja stuff or whatever.
See, and that's the big distinction between the show and the comics. In the MCU, Hawkeye's already done the Ronin bit. He had a bad haircut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then Black Widow fell on a rock on a planet.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hawkeye is with his family on vacation in New York. He doesn't live in New York in the show.
Yeah, this doesn't touch on his family or anything like that.
So they adjusted it for that because it's established that he lives in Missouri.
Yeah.
In the movies. But Kate Bishop, I think it's cool because in the show, because they introduced Kate Bishop as a new aspiring like archer and like Hawkeye type.
Yeah.
And then she runs into Hawkeye. And then after they kind of meet together, it translates a lot from the comics.
Yeah. So this one, Kate Bishop's already established in the comics.
Yeah.
It just quickly runs over. He goes in his like narration. He's just like, "This is Kate Bishop. She was Hawkeye while I was," and I don't remember where it says it, but he actually like phrases it like as she was Hawkeye while I was dressing up as a ninja or whatever. Like that's how he phrases it in the comic. And so they're already acquaintances. They're already working together when this is taking place. But the other thing I just really like about this comic does some of the better action scenes I've seen in comics. So this is a panel here when he attacks the Russian mobsters.
I really like the art style. And that's David Aja, right?
Yeah.
Aja? I don't know.
But this art style, I mean, the way they do the action scenes, you can follow it really easily and tell exactly what's going on. Some comics I've seen, so they would skip the whole like process of him throwing this. He throws a card into someone's neck.
Yeah,
because he's Hawkeye, and that's cool. Some comics would just like skip all of this stuff of him showing his hand throwing the card and just cut to the panel of him making a mess.
Yeah.
This comic does a really good job doing.
I can see
clean action scenes where you can actually tell what's going on.
That's cool.
And they're still quick. It's just one panel, and that's the end of the action scene.
And I like the art style. It's kind of like
And they do a lot of cool things like jump cuts here. So they show the shot of here where he gets smashed in the face with a bottle, so his head's at a certain position.
I appreciate that.
And then the next panel or the next page, it cuts to his head in the same position, but he's sleeping.
I appreciate that it's not the like realistic kind of mundane art that a lot of comics use recently.
Yeah, it's very stylized.
It's very well, not cell shaded because it's a comic, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. No, it looks almost like it's sketchy.
Yeah, a little like just like the bold colors.
It's very rough. It's but it's still finished and it's nice looking.
Oh yeah. Well, that's what I appreciate about it.
It's a very nice art style, yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, and one of the reasons I like Silver Black so much was because Silver Surfer Black was because of the art.
So here's the panel where he gets shot in the arm because he's facing off against these Russian mobsters, and there's two guys and they both have guns, and you see Hawkeye's thinking to himself, "There's 30 yards to cover." And they're gonna get shots in. I'm definitely gonna get hit, and he does get hit in the arm. And then he says he's bracing for the follow up shot, and then the dog attacks the guy and saves him.
Nice
from the follow up shot.
No, I'm definitely gonna have to read that round. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, real good action scenes, and it's cool because they show Hawkeye being kind of a dick.
Yeah.
Like he's a dick. He can be childish in how he interacts with people.
And that's another distinction between Jeremy Renner's version and the comic version.
Jeremy Renner's version is a fed up dad.
Yeah.
The comic version is he's childish when he interacts with people all the time. And but he's still competent. He's still like he can back up his childishness by actually doing shit.
Since you haven't seen the show yet, it takes a lot from this run. But in general, Jeremy Renner as Hawkeye the whole time, he just doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And all these situations he just wants to get it over with and he's just done.
I mean, that's this Hawkeye too. He doesn't want to be doing any of this shit. He just wants to fucking go home and sleep.
Yeah.
Like that. I think they say that at one point where they're like,
he's
like, I'm going to go
Does he
sleep.
need a hearing aid in this? Is he going deaf?
They haven't established that by the second issue.
Okay. Well, I know in the comics he starts losing his hearing, and in the show he has the hearing aid. And what's I don't think this is a big spoiler, but in the show, Kate Bishop's talking to Hawkeye and asking him why he needs the hearing aid.
Yeah.
And he doesn't say anything, but it just shows him kind of look up and think. And then it shows a bunch of flashbacks. It shows like when he crashed through the window in Avengers, when he was caught in an explosion in Avengers, when Thanos bombed the Avengers facility, when
he's like, I don't know, maybe
when in
maybe
the battle,
all the explosions,
in the Civil War battle where he had like Giant Man stepping next to him, like all that shit. And he's just like, I don't know. It just happened.
Yeah, this comic does a lot of cool stuff too, where they repeat lines. So this scene here, right here. So he's doing target practice, and it goes: the wire tenses, back muscles tighten and lock, slowing your breath. Relax your hand, and he shoots and hits the target. And then later on, there's a scene where he is watching Kate Bishop in action, and she pulls her bow out, and then it does the same thing where it slows down, the wire tenses, and all that sort of thing.
You should definitely
it's a very cool
send that one to me.
Yeah, I'll take a screenshot.
That's
of that.
a cool panel.
And it shows Kate Bishop's reaction to it.
So I know you haven't finished a run yet, and it's a much bigger run than I've read. But if you didn't have to do the show, would you keep reading it?
Yeah, I'm going to keep reading it. It's cool. And it takes 20 minutes to read each issue.
Well, yeah, and I've heard people, and even I've had this issue before in my early days of comic book reading, but it's like, how do you read comics? Like,
yeah.
And what I say, just take your time.
Yeah.
Don't read it like a book. Don't just read the dialogue and just breeze through it, because you want to appreciate the panels. You want to appreciate the pages and the art.
What I like to do, and actually this is one of my things I don't like about Marvel Unlimited, the individual panels, is I like to be able to take in the entire page sometimes.
I see what you're saying there, but I do like the smart panel thing because it makes you take more time with it and appreciate each panel.
Yeah.
Rather than looking at a page, reading, and then just going through. But what I usually do, especially before like all that, before smart panels, what I do, I like to read as not quickly, but I like to read at the pace of what's happening on the page. So if it's a big action scene, I try to read at a faster pace to stick with the action.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then after I'm done reading, I take my time to look at each panel and like appreciate the art.
A good action scene in a comic though will be formatted in a way where you can do that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I like about this. So that one panel I showed you, I'll take a screenshot of it maybe later, where it shows him fighting, he beats up these Russian popsters, there's no dialogue in the entire page. It just shows him he flicks this card at this guy's throat.
Sometimes that happens
and then attacks this guy and knocks everything over.
Yeah.
And there's probably 15 panels on that page because there's little tiny ones, but you can read it all real quickly.
Yeah. No, but yeah, my main advice is just read it. I would say read at your normal pace, what you're comfortable with, but don't rush through it. And definitely, whether you want to appreciate the art and the panels before you read everything or after, take the time to just soak it in.
I'm probably gonna finish reading the series before I start the TV show.
Oh, that might be a good. You might know some spoilers.
Because while I'm reading, I'm starting the comic right now. So why not finish it before I start watching the show?
What I really, I don't want to spoil anything for you, but what I really like about the show, it's MCU, but it's very Netflix.
Okay.
Like Daredevil.
Yeah. Well, that's actually, what I said earlier is one thing I like about this series so far. Is it treats Hawkeye like a street level hero.
Well, he is,
and he is. But I say that because
happens to be in the Avengers
nowadays. He gets a lot more coverage as an Avenger.
Yeah,
when there's not a lot of nowadays coverage of.
Well, and also in the comics, he was originally a criminal.
Yeah, so there's not as much stuff nowadays showing him as being a street level guy. He's typically a super spy. Or an Avenger, or one of these big things, even though his power set is that he's street level.
Yeah, he's good at archery.
Yeah, good at archery. He's good at espionage.
Yeah, and the show does a good job. It's like, yeah, Hawkeye used to be Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Avenger, a spy, and assassin, all this stuff. But now he's just on the streets trying to survive.
They also show him and Kate Bishop in this shooting people with arrows, but non-lethally.
Yeah.
They make a point out of that. So there's he encounters, I don't remember the guy's name, but he's this the other guy that was trained by the swordsman.
And the swordsman trained Hawkeye.
Yeah. So he encounters the other guy that's trained by the swordsman, and his goons, and Kate Bishop shoots a couple arrows at his goons right in the eyeballs. But she shoots them apparently in a way where they just go blind. She doesn't actually kill them. And then Hawkeye shoots an arrow that deflects off of a wall and into the back of the neck of this villain. And the villain falls down, and Kate Bishop is like, "You got him," or she's like, "Will he live?" And Hawkeye's like, "He'll live, not well, but he'll live," implying that he probably hit the guy's spine and probably paralyzed the dude.
Nice, but I'll definitely check that out.
Good series.
And we got to wrap up soon.
I know it's on Marvel Unlimited.
I just got a couple quick mentions. So
yeah,
I've started reading Star Wars Vader Dark Visions. So I've read the regular Darth Vader run, but I really wanted to check out Dark Visions because it's like an anthology series. It's like different takes on Darth Vader.
Yeah,
as a character. And the first issue is amazing. If you're a Darth Vader fan, you're going to love it. Or just a Star Wars fan. But basically, it's from the perspective of this one like alien kid, like this blue alien kid. I don't know what race he is. I think it's made up for the comic, honestly. But you might know.
What is it? Is it blue alien kid?
That's what he looks like.
I don't know. The only blue alien race I know of is the Chiss. Are they called? It's a Thrawn's race.
Yeah, some of the Twi'leks are blue.
Yeah,
that's her name, the French lady. But like distinctly
but
blue.
Not all of them are blue.
Yeah. So basically, his planet, his race, they know little to nothing about the Galactic War, about the Empire, about the Rebellion, any of that.
Yeah.
They're a distant planet, backwater planet. And the instances that they have seen battles, like up in the sky or on their planet, they view the Empire as gods.
Oh.
But they also have like all these big giant monsters on their planet, and like here it is, and that's Darth Vader in its hand.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's so what happens? They observe that this big battle's happening, and they think it's just these gods fighting each other out in space.
Yeah,
and it's the Rebellion versus the Empire. Here's a scene from that.
Nice,
very classic looking. But Darth Vader's in the battle, and he's in his TIE fighter taking down a bunch of X-Wings as he does, but he g's shot down.
Oh shit!
And he gets shot down, and
that
crashes.
Pilot got a promotion.
Yeah. He gets shot down, and he crashes on his planet, and they see the TIE fighter crash on the planet, and they all run away, but this one kid stays to look, and they think it's like this god crashing down. And then all of a sudden, Darth Vader bursts out with the Force, just explodes TIE fighter off of him. And then, he lands right on top of this giant monster and awakens it.
Oh, shit.
And the kid's like, well, he's fucked. And it's like a big, weird shark kaiju thing. That's the best way to explain it. But then he sees Darth Vader start fighting it. And there's that scene again. He's got Darth Vader in his hands, like he thinks Darth Vader is gonna die, but then Darth Vader just cuts his fingers off his light, and he's like, every time he talks about him, he's like this Black Knight, and he unsheaves his flaming sword. Like, he knows nothing about Jedi, nothing about lightsabers.
Yeah.
But then Darth Vader, so he's fighting the monster, and he hasn't quite used the Force too much yet. But then he gets on a horse, a space horse. I don't know what it is, but it's really a badass
Space
looking.
horse.
And like the ones in the Rise of Skywalker that they rode on the Star Destroyer, even though they could have tipped the ship over or whatever. But we don't want to talk about that. Oh, and I love this scene right here.
Oh, that's cool.
But while the rest of his family and civilization's running away, he's watching Darth Vader fight this big giant like kaiju, and he just doesn't believe what he's seen. And after Darth Vader defeats it, little boy's still there, and then Darth Vader's basically like, I guess the Force must be with you. And he just walks off. he spares, like, he just runs off. He gets back onto he actually, what's really crazy, and I don't know if this is canon and his abilities, but he uses the Force to bring him and his TIE fighter up to the Star Destroyer.
Oh, that's sick.
I mean, he probably could.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe, yeah.
But that's the first run. He fights a big monster on a horse, and it's really badass. And what I really like about it, and I can't wait to read more, but yeah, I haven't had much time either. Just seeing these different depictions of Darth Vader and how different civilizations throughout the galaxy like see him.
Yeah.
And how some of these stories may not be true. Some of them may be exaggerated. Some of them are true. But I love that whole idea in Star Wars where you get people that don't know anything about the war, anything about the Empire, about Jedi, but then they see a Jedi show up or a Sith show up and do shit.
And they're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Look at this guy.
But yeah, and this monster not worshipped it, but they feared it as a god on their planet. Yeah. And then Darth Vader out of nowhere shows up, fucks it up, kills it. And to this planet, he's a hero.
Yeah. Because he
kills it and then he fucks off. He goes back into the Star Destroyer.
Slayed this crazy monster.
And like there's no Imperial influence on their planet.
Yeah.
Like, it must be, like, an outer rim. I'm pretty sure it is.
Probably,
yeah. But, I can't wait to read more of it. And it's, so it's, I think it's got different writers on each issue. Because it's like an anthology, you know? But no, I really enjoyed it.
Nice.
But it's,
I'll have to check that out, yeah.
And yeah, I mean, the cover art.
Oh yeah,
Darth Vader on a horse with an Imperial shield, which he doesn't actually have that shield in the actual comic.
Just
but it looks cool.
But it's cool, yeah.
And then I also read some She-Hulk. Getting into her character, I read her origin story in the 1980 run, and also fun fact: so She-Hulk was Stan Lee's last character for Marvel.
Oh wow,
that he created, and the reason basically was that the Incredible Hulk TV series with, Bill Bixby and Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
They had an idea to do a female version of the Hulk for the series.
Oh.
But then Marvel was like, we better do that before they have the rights to it and we don't. So they made She-Hulk.
I love that.
And
She-Hulk's great though.
Jennifer Walters, she's a cousin to Bruce Banner. She's a lawyer, and basically what happens, this mob attempts to kill her because she's taking down their crime family.
Yeah.
And Bruce Banner just happens to be about. And he gives her a blood transfusion, and that turns her into the She-Hulk. And then he's like, okay, I got to go. I'm on the run. I'm Bruce Banner. Bye. Play the sad music.
It's like, have fun with Hulk powers.
Yeah.
Bye.
Basically. But what's great about her character is that when she's She-Hulk, she really feels like she's herself. She, like, when she's just regular Jennifer Walters, that's what she hates. She likes being the She-Hulk. And Bruce Banner usually likes being Banner over Hulk because he can't control Hulk.
Yeah.
But like She-Hulk, she's empowered and she loves it. And so I read a couple of different runs. So I read a little bit of, the original run, and then Sensational She-Hulk, which is, I definitely want to read more of that. It's 1989 to 92, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when she's breaking the fourth wall the whole time before Deadpool.
Yeah.
Before Deadpool. And like in the first issue, she's like, okay, here's the second try at She-Hulk. If you don't read my run, I'll rip up all your X-Men comics. Like, and there's cool bits where she's like punching through the panels and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's one cover, and maybe I'll probably post a bit. I don't have time to look it up. But there's a cover where she's nude, but she's like covered in the comics code authority, like a towel. And it says the Comic Code Authority.
That's funny.
And then I also read 2014-15 run of She-Hulk. What I really appreciate about that run, so it's more modern, and it's a good, if you're just getting into the character, I would recommend that because it's only like 12 issues.
Yeah.
But what I really appreciate about it, there will be a whole panel just for her. Like it really, whenever she has a action pose or scene, they have a lot of space for her.
Oh, that's
and
cool,
like she really, and like the art is fine, like it's really mundane actually, but until she's on the panel, then she really pops, like the green and everything. And what's cool about She-Hulk, like she is a practicing lawyer as She-Hulk.
Yeah, no, I love that about her.
Most of the time she is She-Hulk. And but what's interesting is like she has like her normal She-Hulk form where she's just like a big tall lady. But then she can get angrier beyond that and like Hulk out even more.
Yeah.
But no, it's a lot of fun. I'm really enjoying her character. I honestly think I'm going to go back to the Sensational She-Hulk, though, because that's so much fun. And it's so of its era.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a fun time. And, yeah, I want to catch up on, because, we got the She-Hulk series coming up. And I recently watched a Caravan of Garbage video about the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
This TV movie they made in 1989 that finished off the series that actually featured Daredevil.
Really?
His first appearance in live action.
Oh, that's cool.
And it's the black suit, the like ninja, like blind ninja.
The one that's really budget friendly.
And like he's actually a good Daredevil. and Charlie Cox is coming back. We don't know exactly how or in what capacity, but we know he's coming back, so that'll be cool. But yeah, I recommend She-Hulk. And I don't have much to say about it, but I've started reading Spider-Man 2099, the original 90s run.
Oh, I've meant to read that.
Which is a lot of fun. And what I do appreciate about it is the action, even for its era, like the movement in that comic. It does a good job, like of illustrating the movement and like action. And I read a little bit, just one issue. Well, they only have one issue of Ghost Rider 2099.
Oh.
And all I can really say about it, it's this guy.
It's a weird version of Ghost Rider.
It's not the Spirit of Vengeance at all. It's not magic. But this guy implants his consciousness to try to hack this machine, but then gets stuck in basically a Terminator, which is the Ghost Rider.
It's a weird version of Ghost Rider, but I kind of appreciate it.
No, it's like cyberpunk Ghost Rider.
I like the whole 2099 stuff, most of it, because a lot of it is kind of cyberpunky.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk, but maybe with a little bit
less bugs.
Yeah.
I mean,
a little bit less. I don't want to say not,
but I'm really
gritty,
getting into
but less noir-ish as a lot of cyberpunk tends to be.
Yeah, but I definitely want to get into Spider-Man 2099, the original run, and it's very of its era. It reminds me a lot of Batman Beyond, but it came out before Batman Beyond, actually.
Yeah,
which is cool to think about. But And yeah, we'll try to get some DC comics in there. I mean, you got that service where you can get stuff.
I've meant to. I've been meaning to read some DC comics. Recently, I've been pretty into DC stuff. Some of the animated movies are pretty good.
Oh yeah, But the thing about getting into comics now, you don't have to go back and like read every issue of Spider-Man.
No, nowadays you actually for a while
you have a lot of freedom to pick and choose, and
for a while you did. Have to kind of
they reboot it every 10 years, anyways.
For a while you did have to kind of start. Choose a place to start. DC. Actually,
they're always rebooting.
Well, actually, if you want to get into DC Comics and just generally into DC Comics, they rebooted it like in 2015.
Yeah,
because the New 52 flopped.
Yeah, really did.
I don't hate New 52 or anything, but it flopped, so they rebooted it again. Actually, they had the animated movie universe based off of the New 52, which outlasted the actual New 52.
But now they're doing.
They kept making those movies until like 2019.
New animated universe.
They're doing a new one. Yeah, they kept making. So I think
it started with Batman Long Halloween. I think that's the start of the new animated.
So
stuff.
I think it was like the DC animated, or there's the way they do the names are weird. But there's a specific. It's like 20 movies that are based off of the New 52. And they started the year that New 52 came out, and they went until about 2019 was the last one they made.
New 52 ended in like
2015, 2016, something like that. They outlasted the actual New 52.
But yeah, my best advice to reading comics is just pick what looks interesting to you. Yeah. And they always explain their origin and everything in the beginning, before the comic. Yeah. And if it's a character you know already, you don't really need
most comics. Actually, like most comics runs.
Now, what I don't recommend
most of them mostly just assume that you know the basic idea of the character.
What I don't recommend doing though is just going into an event out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You kind of need to read up the comics leading up to an event.
Yeah, you have to start at the beginning of a series.
Yeah.
Start at the beginning of the series.
Now, I mean, you could still go to an event out of nowhere, but you would have to, go with the expectations that a lot of this I'm not going to understand.
Yeah.
But you go in for the fun.
There's not a lot of those event comics. Honestly, the only one off the top of my head that I know of that is one I think you can just jump into is a DC. It's the Flashpoint. Is one I think
Flashpoint, because that resets the universe anyways.
It's resetting, and you really only need to know about the Flash.
And Batman. A lot of Batman.
Well, no, you don't need to know about Batman because Flash isn't dealing with the established Batman. He's dealing with Thomas Wayne.
Well, you got to know about like the Batman universe.
Yeah, basic idea of who Batman is. But you don't need to know about the 90s, 80s, and 90s Batman.
No,
to know what's going on. You just need to know who Flash is.
Anyways, we will post some panels on our Instagram for you to check out and recommend you the comics we've been reading, and we recommend all the ones we've been talking about tonight.
Yeah, they're all good.
And we will see you next week. What we're gonna do, I don't know. It's a secret, but maybe I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
If we can survive to next week, that's the question.
I'm sure we can manage.
Yeah. But, anyways, thanks for listening, and do comics and have a good holiday season. And if you are a student, good luck on your finals, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Please wish us luck on our finals.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week. And, and also just a fair, not a warning, a foreboding warning. We are going to be, if you're new to us, we are going to be taking a break again for January.
Yeah. We did that last year. We're going to do it this year as well.
Yeah. But we still got plenty of fun to have before then.
We got this month and then a break, and then we'll pick back up in February.
So, yeah, you guys have a good holiday season, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Let's roll that outro.
Do it.
This is not a test. I repeat, this is not a test. The Odd Drunk Podcast recommends that you follow their Instagram and join their Facebook group for more fun content. To view all of our current available streaming and social media platforms, visit our Linktree in the description below. If you enjoy the show, it would be appreciated if you leave us a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts. Okay, Colton, you can roll the outro now.